Hey, welcome, pre-chiropractic students. This is Dr. Ben Glass. I'm a chiropractor just aiming to help build context for you in this path of becoming a chiropractor. Today, I have the opportunity to speak with somebody who's been in the profession for years, Dr. Sanna, coming to us from Miami, Florida. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with any prospective student out there considering this path. Can we get started by you just introducing yourself and sharing what attracted you to this profession and what made you decide to become a chiropractor?
Absolutely. So, thanks so much for having me today. And for your audience, if you're about to undertake a chiropractic journey, it's going to be the journey of a lifetime. It's one of the most rewarding professions, uh, both in terms of financially rewarding, and but also in terms of being able to have a social purpose, a purpose that is a much higher purpose than going in and punching a time clock and finishing the end of the day. When you go home at the end of the day as a chiropractor and you've touched tens and dozens of lives during a day and impacted all of those lives that are uh, in touch with those lives, it's an amazing, amazing thing. My chiropractic journey is that my dad is a chiropractor, and dad is in his 58th year of chiropractic, which means if you know the math, this is about our 126th year. Dad's been a chiropractor about a half the time that there's actually been chiropractic. So
Wow. Wow.
growing up, chiropractic was always present in our life. You know, some folks have to discover chiropractic later on, and maybe they go in and have a chiropractor uh, provide chiropractic care for them, and the light goes on, and they say, "Oh gosh, this is what I'd like to do." I'm one of the few people who knew from about age 5 that I was going to be a chiropractor, and
Wow.
my folks laugh that when I was 5, I didn't say chiropractor. I was going to be a dog opractor because I would adjust the dog and the cat. The dogs are, you know, we'll let you adjust them, but cats are smart. You get about one chance with a cat, and then the cat doesn't
Mhm.
want to play dogopractor or catapractor anymore.
Mhm. Wow. Can you just share what it's like to be a kid growing up in a chiropractic family? Just because, as someone who might decide they want to become a chiropractor one day, you're gonna potentially have a family in the future that you're raising within that chiropractic mindset, that way of life. Can you talk what it's like to be a kid growing up in a chiropractic family and now you maybe having a family of your own and what that's been like?
Well, absolutely. I think I often say if you've ever seen the movie The Wizard of Oz, and near the end of the movie, the little dog Toto pulls aside the curtain, and this great big Wizard of Oz turns out to be this little frightened old man behind the curtain. And I think the greatest gift that you're given as a chiropractor is to have that blindfold removed from your eyes. Really understand as a chiropractor, you're one of the few people who really gets it that health comes from within the body, not from outside of the body. And that health is a process. It's a process of decisions, good and bad decisions you make over your life, and not an event that you're either healthy and then one day you're not healthy, strikes you out of the blue. So, understanding that removing interference, in particular from the nervous system, improves the body's ability to communicate with all of its parts is something that, as a chiropractor, you know, and about 90%, including medical doctors, have no idea. And it really is a beautiful, beautiful perspective. And you see, you know, growing up, uh, I mentioned adjusting animals. You know, there are people who have careers adjusting horses and veterinary chiropractors, and you know, animals don't lie. They respond amazingly to chiropractic care, and kids are the same. You know, I know
Mhm.
in practice, I love. seeing the little kids come in and they take the Superman dive onto the table and they want their adjustment first. And if you knew that it wasn't right, or if it hurt, or if it was uncomfortable, you never get a 3 4 year old hopping on there saying, adjust me now. And that's one of the great things. Same thing when you'll have the opportunity as a chiropractor, and there will be that time, and I promise you it'll happen. Your head is on the pillow, you're just about to go to sleep, and your wife will give you a little push and say, I need an adjustment. And so I have a really high level of respect for when somebody asks me for an adjustment. I think it's the greatest honor that I could be asked. And so I always brush the sleep out of my eyes, get up, like, okay, and this is going to be, I'm going to check you first, then I'm going to adjust you, then I'm going to check you, and then we're going to go. But those moments let you know that there's something special there. And I think, as a chiropractic kid and a chiropractic family, you have a different intuitive sense about your own body's health. And you know when you need an adjustment, and how the general population could actually live a whole life and not be able to experience that, and the benefit and the great feeling that comes from being well adjusted in lots of different ways. One of the things, I'm a practice management consultant as well as a chiropractor, and one of the great things that I have the opportunity to do is to serve on the board of what is the largest organization in chiropractic. Of some 38,000 members right now. And that's the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress. And they just started this past year a podcast. Dr. Sherry McAllister, who's the vice president of the organization, and it's called Adjusted Reality. And I love the name because it really resonates with what happens as you become this chiropractor. She's got great guests. Deepak Chopra was her first guest. But check it out. Where podcasts are everywhere. And it's a great insight to a chiropractic lifestyle. It's really made for the patient. So it's a cool podcast to listen to.
Yeah, it's amazing the wealth of resources available for not only chiropractors, but chiropractic students. And now we're making resources for pre-chiropractic students because you really do need to adjust your mindset to the world around you when you're going into chiropractic school. It really challenges your belief systems. There's a lot of limiting beliefs we have as incoming students about what chiropractic is, what it can do for people, about what it could do for us, and why we're going in. We really have to expand our context, which is something I like to say a lot on this podcast. So you said you're a practice management coach and you're also involved with F4CP. Can you talk about the challenges and struggles that chiropractors have and why they need some practice management, or what the concept of practice management is? And then also share what F4CP is all about. Are there opportunities for students to get involved?
Yes.
What are the current initiatives, and what has been done in recent years by the F4CP to better the profession?
Well, great. So first of all, these are, as you know, we're here on virtually together and not sitting next to each other for a reason, and that's because the world went a little crazy this last year with this pandemic. And it's a really interesting thing. So here you have a profession, chiropractic. We're face to face with our patients. And you talk about being frontline. We were truly and are truly frontline. And the challenges that chiropractors faced this past year were multiple, and yet this actually turned out to be the most successful year ever for most chiropractors. Now that's amazing. So it sounds like a very big brushstroke. But there is right now a new round of government stimulus money, and this PPP, or Paycheck Protection Plan, and you had to show a 25% decrease in revenue one quarter in 2020 compared to the same quarter 2019. A lot of chiropractors don't qualify
I didn't
because,
qualify.
yeah, they didn't have, and you're like, really? And
Mhm.
so more new patients accessed chiropractic, and it certainly isn't out there because we were doing talks or advertising. Or, in fact, there wasn't any time to do that. You were having to learn how to space patients properly, how to do proper hygiene in the office and masking and all this kind of stuff. So it's not like they all of a sudden cranked up whatever pay per click, right? And so having a coach be able to help you navigate through this tremendous crisis, and that meant really being clear about what your purpose is, really making sure that your practice team members, your staff employees, were in alignment with your value system. And it the pandemic was very much like a magnifying glass. So if somebody was on your team and had really good work ethic and good core values, they shined. And if somebody was kind of skirting or just getting by, they also shined, but they shined in such a way like, okay, you're going to shine yourself off the team, right?
Mhm.
And so teams became tighter. What became important shifted, and being there and delivering patient care became everything. And so you had to do it more effectively, more efficiently, with a whole new set of circumstances than ever before. We had to learn how to do telemed, telehealth, right? Calls for patients. And it was
Mhm.
really interesting. You had to learn how to be much more careful with how you spent money, where you spent money, because there were some regulations in the first round of government stimulus that came across that were very stringent in how you could or couldn't spend those monies. So we spent a
Mhm.
lot as consultants of time this past year teaching folks how to navigate all of those regulations, along with the new health department regulations that impacted us, and also regulations in terms of what you can and can't do for your staff.
Mhm.
And, while we saw more new patients and a greater volume of patients than ever before, these were some stressed out people, man. And so oftentimes they'd unload on us in the office because they didn't have anywhere else. They're stuck at home doing homeschool with the kids, and quarantining and all that. And then they'd come to the chiropractic office, and it's like this breath of sanity. And man, they would just let it go. And so the emotional component of being a chiropractor
Mhm.
really became very, very, very strong, and even tested at sometimes when people wanted to push your buttons in
Mhm.
practice, and you had to stay focused and centered, and coming from a healing place.
Mhm.
Uh, so we do a lot of hand holding. We work with our coaches. I do all my calls on Zoom, and we have a team of coaches who work with docs. We have about 1,000 docs across the country that we work with,
Mhm.
and we're on the call. We're working on their highest priorities,
Mhm.
and that's putting in efficient systems so that you can really focus on delivering great patient care and know that the business of chiropractic is being taken care of. My dad's, one of his great quotes is what he told me early on. He said, Mark, you got to remember, in chiropractic, you're in the business of healing. And without the business, you don't get to do the healing.
Mhm.
So, as a chiropractor, it's a very unique situation because you are, in many instances, an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
You may go from startup to mature business and have to have a plan for that. Probably as a pre chiropractic student, you're not thinking about what's my exit strategy, but there's going to come a time when you have to figure, all right, what do I do now? When do I take on associates?
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to have somebody who's been there and done it. I always say you can be successful. Success is a matter of systems and hard work, period, and maybe a little luck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's easier to be successful if you have a mentor or a coach or someone who's been there and done what it is that you seek to do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to make the same mistakes. So it costs less, and it can happen faster when you have a coach.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, or we call it F4CP, so take a look at f4cp.org. That's our website. There are lots and lots of resources out there for new starting chiropractors, for lay folks. We have a membership that's $25 a year for students. So and there are, when I say resources, I mean highly vetted content from some of the most respected folks in the profession. And every single month, we have things like PowerPoint presentations, podcasts, I mentioned, whole new webinar series that are really designed to bring people the latest information about chiropractic and chiropractic research. And it's one of the proudest achievements that I've had, is being associated with that organization. So I hope you'll check it out, like us on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm. What
and
does the
all those
concept
things.
of chiropractic progress look like to you, and how is F4CP moving chiropractic forward? What direction is chiropractic going in with the help of F4CP?
Well, it's really interesting. Certainly, you're seeing a trend now, a couple of trends in chiropractic. And one of the biggest or greatest trends is collaboration. And this is collaboration is really being driven by the opioid epidemic. And so you have primary care providers, even medical specialists, who now can't take out a prescription pad and write a script for OxyContin, and all of the stuff that happens when you get somebody onto opioids, the terrible spiral that can take, is that they understand, those medical traditional medical folks understand that, hey, we need a different answer, because somebody with back pain or neck pain or headaches, I can't take out my script pad. And so they're learning to collaborate with chiropractors in a way that really has never happened in my career. Listen, I told you my dad's a chiropractor. I remember very clearly being on the playground and being told my dad's a quack. And I didn't really understand it. I was so upset and went home and had to hear the story of why these kids on the playground would be picking on me, because somebody's parent told somebody's kid that chiropractic is about quackery, right? And now to know that not only are we invited into the greatest rooms, when I say collaborative rooms, I'm talking about, we're working with nurse practitioners and physician's assistants and yoga masters and acupuncturists and nutritionists I'm talking about on the national level, with some really serious organizations coming together for the first time for this concept of patient-centered care. That
Mm-hmm.
blow your mind, right? The care should actually be centered on the patient,
Mm-hmm.
their quality of life, and the outcomes, and that reimbursement for those services should be based upon the quality of the outcomes that you produce.
Mm-hmm.
As chiropractic, study after study shows 94, 95% patient satisfaction with chiropractic care. And
Mm-hmm.
that's really, really huge. So the foundation has really been instrumental in having us be not only at the table, but ready once we're at that table to be able to have some of the biggest conversations about healthcare. You know, you hear a lot about healthcare reform
Hmm.
from the government, and that's not healthcare reform. That's insurance reform. That's a whole different ballgame.
Hmm.
Healthcare reform is how we actually deliver healthcare, how we look at health, how we define health, and that's transforming. And the foundation has played, not just the foundation, a lot of our national organizations have played a big role in moving that ball forward, and chiropractic is right in the center of it. And so that's a pretty darn cool thing.
Hmm. What are some accomplishments you can reflect on that you've had in the time that you've been involved with the F4CP? Have you been able to look back on the last 10 years and point a finger at one thing you were really involved with that made a difference in chiropractic practices around the country, around the world?
Well, there have been many. I'm going to give you one that's really current, like right now, is that for the very first time in, as we all know, the Olympics has been a kind of a moving target in terms of are we going to have them? Is Tokyo going to host them? We didn't have them last year, couldn't have them last year. Well, we've actually produced the foundation, the very first chiropractic commercial that will tell network television commercial that will be running during the Olympics.
Mm.
And the theme of the commercial is about performance and how chiropractic can help you perform better. So it has an audience for the lay person who's out there and listening. And we got an amazing a chiropractor who is the talent stars in the spot, who is also an Olympian, and she's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the message is also about considering chiropractic as a career. And
Okay.
so, and you can imagine to produce a network TV commercial running on the Olympics, we're talking hundreds of thousands, about $1 million to do that. And so
Mm-hmm.
for the perfect, and by the way, that was collected a lot in $25 increments, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And to be able to have that now in the can, ready to go, and have our members be able to have access to that spot to be able to play on their social media pieces. Olympics supposed to be in July, so we'll be releasing in June. You'll
Mm-hmm.
see that come out. A bunch of the colleges are going to private label it with their college logos on there, and
Mm-hmm.
to put chiropractic, I mean, what a great venue to be able to
Mm-hmm.
see chiropractic as way more than neck pain and back pain, right? We know we can do that. That's the low hanging fruit. But to
Mm-hmm.
know that chiropractic for performance, right, is essential. It's not an athlete, professional athlete that doesn't have a chiropractor on their team, whether you're a golfer or a basketball player, football player, or an Olympian. They all have
Mm-hmm.
chiropractors. So
Mm-hmm.
letting the world know about that is something I'm really proud of the foundation having done, and I'm proud to have played a small part in that.
Awesome. Awesome. When you look back, what's going to be sort of your legacy as a chiropractor if you look back on the years that you've been involved in the profession and been in practice and worked with chiropractors around the country? What do you really look at as your legacy and your impact on the world?
Well, I think my legacy has been through almost 30 years of coaching chiropractors, is to help them understand that certainty comes in a couple of ways. Certainty comes from being certain in that you're right, that the truth is on your side. And so when you hear somebody malign chiropractic, and it still happens, and we still see some press pieces out there that people try to give some cheap shots to the profession, that we know that we've stood the test of time now, going on 126 years, that more people are seeking out chiropractic than ever before. In our colleges, I must say, I work a lot with the colleges, that our colleges are doing a better job preparing our chiropractors than ever before. I am never cease to be amazed at how bright, smart, talented, but also I mentioned socially conscious before. How much more socially conscious our new grads are. So yeah, they are have chosen chiropractic. I mentioned before. Yes, because you can make a beautiful living. Yes, because you're your own boss and you call your own shots. And the harder you work, the better that you can do. And there's not a lot of professions that offer you that. But also, they're really interested, the new grads, really interested on making an impact, in making an impact on society and making an impact on people's lives. And so for me to have, again, played a small role in being able to help docs be successful and be certain about what it is that they're doing. When I look back on my years in breakthrough coaching, I think that's going to be the thing I'll be most proud of.
Hmm. Absolutely. Uh, any message for a pre-Kairos student out there on how they can develop some of the soft skills or hard skills that goes into running and managing your own practice and being in the business of healing, as you put it?
Absolutely. You will find that the top chiropractors in any community will love to invite you into their practice to do something that I call shadowing. So, shadowing is you're the doc's shadow for the day. Wherever he goes or she goes, you go. So, if it's in adjusting a patient or doing a new patient exam or running a staff meeting or having to do documentation and paperwork, the best of the best will always reach their hand out and invite you in. And so, my big recommendation for you is get yourself into as many chiropractic offices as you can.
Hmm.
Because everybody has again, the beauty of chiropractic is it allows you a lot of creativity. So there are some practices that are neurologically focused, some pediatric focused, some focus on personal injury, some on sports. And so to be able to go in and see the different ways that chiropractic is practiced opens up your eyes to what's possible, right? What can be done. Same thing. I can't count how many chiropractic techniques that there are. And most chiropractors take a little bit of each one and based upon their own physical abilities and size and whatnot, come up with their own kind of a riff on delivering a chiropractic adjustment. So getting out there and getting adjusted by the masters, I think, is really key. I was really surprised when I sat in day one of my chiropractic school. I went to New York Chiropractic College. In day one, they do an orientation, and you sat there, and they asked how many people had received a chiropractic adjustment. Now, these are students going to become chiropractors, devote the next 4 years of their life, already did their undergrad, next 4 years of their life to become chiropractors. About a half the hands in the room had never had a chiropractic adjustment. And I'm like, how do you know what you're getting into if you've
Hmm.
never been adjusted? So get out there, visit practices, pick up the phone call. If somebody doesn't invite you in, probably an office you don't want to be in anyway,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Winners will always open their door to you. I promise you. In fact, one of the great things to do is in that little gap between when you finish your clinic experience in chiropractic college and before you're licensed, there's a great thing like an externship where you can go out and actually get paid to be working in a chiropractic office. And you won't be adjusting, but you'll be doing a whole lot of other stuff. And the more real world experience that you can get in really high quality chiropractic practices, it's going to, and the more adjustments that you can receive, it's going to put you in a much better position when you do get into chiropractic college to focus on where do I want to open, what kind of practice do I want to have, who's my ideal patient, what market do I want to really focus on, what am I passionate about
Mm-hmm.
treating, what kind of conditions do I like to work with, those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be much better than coming out graduate and say, okay, now what do I do? Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're as a prospective student, you're getting to listen to somebody who's got the perspective of many different offices around the country, what they're going through, and giving you great advice. So, Dr. Mark, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you sharing with the students today. This is just like a guidance counseling session of, if you are interested in chiropractic, this is our recommendation to you. And I believe that that's something that is a gap right now that needs to be filled. And here we are just trying to make sure that even if we only help 5 or 10 prospective chiropractic students in the next 2 months, that's a big deal. So everybody's important, everybody matters. And I hope that this conversation was valuable for you. So thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you so much. And if anybody wants to be in touch with me, Google Breakthrough Coaching and you'll find me, or our website is mybreakthrough.com, and
Mhm.
shoot me an email, and I'd love to help in any way that I can.
Perfect.